I have been a type 2 diabetic, which was a surprise to me as well. And then I went through the usual best of healthcare services in India and Europe and UK and whatever is provided. And I reached a stage where all that I was getting was more and more medication, still deteriorating over time. And hitting a stage where, okay, now you need to start taking insulin injections, etc., etc. And I was just disappointed, so to say, that how can there be no other solution, particularly when I'm willing to make all the effort and do my best.
Hi, welcome to my channel, Grit, Grind and Gratitude, where we talk to micro-entrepreneurs about their journey of becoming a micro-entrepreneur and walking that path. Grit, Grind and Gratitude shares stories of resilience, of purpose and values-led entrepreneurs who are shaping their futures boldly. Hi Shantanu, it's a pleasure to welcome you on our channel, Grit, Grind and Gratitude. We were together in college for a year. You were our senior, and it's a delight to see that you have now started off on your own after having an illustrious career in different consumer goods or consumables industry, I think, as an FMCG brand builder. So go ahead, introduce yourself to the world and our listeners.
Hi Dipanvita, lovely to meet you after many years, and I'm delighted to be here. Thanks for reaching out and thanks for having me on your show. It's a pleasure to speak to you after such a long time. Well, my story and my journey, it's first, currently I live in the UK. For the last little over 9 years we have been here. I have a lovely daughter, almost passing her teenage. She's 17 now. And my journey has been moving across, moving countries, moving companies, moving roles. It's just been a fantastic, I'd say, and I feel grateful for that. Fantastic journey of continuous learning and continuous change. And it's brought me where I am today. Yeah, you're right. I've changed companies, I've changed categories, geographies, roles, done various things. And now I'm doing something new. And I'm looking forward to it, how it goes.
So tell us a little more about your company, HealthVerse. Tell us a little more about your background first, what kind of companies you've had your career in. And then tell us about HealthVerse and what is the need in the market that it's addressing.
Great question, and I'll come to what HealthVerse is, right? But let me start by explaining what has driven me on work and life since my college days, okay? And I went through that journey, right? Typically, you're in high school and then college and then do your professional degree and you're figuring out, okay, what do you want to do? And you have few answers, but you don't know if they're right or wrong. And I kept changing the question and the answer through my career. And that's what led to lots of career, company and role changes over the years, right? But the underlying theme that has always connected with me across whatever I've done in my jobs as well is a relentless, I would say, consumer focus in marketing jargon, but people focus and trying to figure out, am I helping them? How am I helping them? What problem am I solving for them? And am I solving that problem in a unique way that is unique to me? And the other thing, which is maybe a bit strange for somebody working in corporate life to say, but I have actually hated competition in my life. And I've always believed people do best when they do their best, not when they're trying to compete with somebody else or react to somebody else's actions or strategies or initiatives. So with that theme, I started my career in advertising. Lovely brands, lovely companies, really enjoyed the time. And I felt that no, I need to do more. I need to work beyond advertising and communications. I need to get into deeper part of products, pricing, sales, distribution. That took me to FMCG space. And why FMCG was because essentially I felt these are products which people buy every day, almost every day. They consume almost every day. And while they seem to be what in marketing jargon is called low engagement category, but the highest impact category actually. Whether you think of now environment, sustainability, health, lifestyle, what we eat, what we use every day potentially has the highest impact compared to a refrigerator or a car or a TV that we buy once in a while. So I found my love in that space, worked through various companies. I don't want to get into various companies that I worked with, but initial 13, 14 years in India, largely. Then a brief stint in West Africa in Ghana. Then fate took us to Paris. We moved there with family. We were there for 3 years. Lovely learnings, new experience, struggles with language and food habits because we are vegetarians, always have been. And then my wife also works. She's also in a similar profession all her life. So then we have always managed dual career, and that also driven. So it's always been that, okay, family and health is the priority. So we will make sure we stay focused on that. Then things brought us to the UK in 2017, and then we have been here. We kind of say we are settled in the life in UK. And then about 2 years back, and I'll go deeper into that in a bit, but both my wife and I were, after having close to 50 years of corporate marketing experience between us, like, okay, what next? And are we going to retire in doing this, or do you want to do something else? She took the first step, to give her the credit. She left her very successful corporate career. One fine day, she called me from office that, okay, I'm going to resign. I don't want to work anymore. And I was in office myself. I was like, okay, what happened? Okay, let's talk today evening. Wait a day. She took the first step. And then we have been on a different journey since then. It's been about 2 years now.
Yeah, so tell us a little more about HealthVerse. And I know your LinkedIn says building purpose-led brands. So how does HealthVerse connect to that?
Well, it happened due to a personal journey, Dipamita, and I'll have to touch upon that a bit to really tell you this. It's connected to, I have myself personally, without getting into the reasons, since my mid-20s, I have been a type 2 diabetic, which was a surprise to me as well. And then I went through the usual best of healthcare services in India and Europe and UK and whatever is provided. And I reached a stage where all that I was getting was more and more medication, still deteriorating over time. And hitting a stage where, okay, now you need to start taking insulin injections, etc., etc. And I was just disappointed, so to say, that how can there be no other solution, particularly when I'm willing to make all the effort and do my best. And my wife also was going through this journey, right? Because she was as affected, even if not directly suffering with this. Now that situation led to an inherent interest as well. That was the stimuli, so to say, for my wife to say, okay, I want to study health and nutrition and wellness, and I want to work in that space. So that was the trigger for her to say that, okay, I want to stop. It's been almost 4 years. She left her corporate life. She went back to studying nutrition and health, literally initially part-time, and then she left her job and studied full-time. She became a fully qualified and registered nutrition therapist here in the UK. Once she finished that, and she loves studying, I'm not that, but she loves studying. Then now she's studying herbal medicine. Then she studied functional medicine. So she literally has been just researching and studying this area. Fortunately, through her education and experience and our collective will, my situation, health situation in the last 5 years has reversed.
Wow.
It was triggered a bit by COVID lockdown. I mean, that's the positive side of COVID, if there is any, because I had time. I did a lot of things. And I was able to get rid of some medication which classical medicine science would say once you start you can never stop them. I have stopped them for 4 years now, and my sugar control has improved, my health condition is improved, everything has improved. And that led us to think that, okay, why isn't there enough awareness about this? Why isn't there enough understanding about this? Why is it that the entire healthcare system is not talking about this? Let me qualify this. Not for a moment my wife and I think that healthcare and pharma industry or medicine science doesn't have a role to play. It has an immense amount of role to play in the world. It does tremendously great things. The reason we set up HealthVerse is because I think over obsession with just one thinking is where it becomes a siloed perspective. Healthcare is a holistic space. It's not just one solution. That's the reason we set up HealthVerse, right? I mean, if I define it in a single statement, we want to solve this problem of over-dependence on one line of approach to solve daily healthcare problems. There are multiple options. That's what we want to build.
Beautiful, beautiful. This whole approach of allopathic medicines and pharmas towards solving symptomatic problems has always not resonated so well with me. I think we are a holistic being, and the whole systems approach that naturopathy or our ancient traditions bring to fore is really the right way of going about it, and not looking at it, okay, I have a tooth pain, so right now maybe that's a good way to treat tooth pain, but not something which is chronic like diabetes. Why not look at the whole systems and how our practices and our day-to-day way of living life is affecting that?
Yes.
And yeah, I'm so happy that you are in this space because this is very close to my heart. I'm a Reiki healer myself.
Lovely.
And yeah, and this is so very close to my heart. Yeah. Tell us what does healthcare specifically offer in terms of its offerings?
Yeah. HealthVerse.
HealthVerse, yes.
It's work in progress, honestly, Dipanvita, right? Because we went live with our website only towards the end of last year. Our starting point is trying to create 3 value additions to the potential target. One, I want to build a learning platform. And when I went through this journey, trying to figure out that, okay, how can I adjust my food habits? How can I adjust my lifestyle? How can I adjust my daily habits? How can I balance medication with other things? And being Indian and being vegetarian, and that's something we need to own up as Indians. Our diet is very carb heavy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So while in the Indian system, people tell us, okay, stop eating sugar. Yeah, and you do, but that's not enough. The body processes carb as sugar.
Yeah.
And this basic understanding is not as prevalent as it should be. So the first thing that I'm trying to build together with my wife is a learning platform which can give all these perspectives to potential people. And we are picking up topics which are relevant as you age, whether it's in women's health related to menopause and other things, men's health, stress management, sleep management, metabolic health. Now, all of these are super connected. While yes, you might have ailment, diabetes, blood pressure, whatever, but the surrounding ecosystem and understanding that is very important. So that is one, a learning platform where a credible source that's not trying to sell you something, but just give you different perspective, where you can go and look at things. My wife has built content around it, and right now I'm working on, okay, how can I build more content, and maybe I'll engage with you around Reiki in the future, right? But my intent is, how can I create content that will help people and help them make more informed choices about what they do? The second is a consult platform. And when we were going through this in early days, even trying to find, okay, who can I talk to who understand Indian food systems and habits and tells me how can I cut carb, and eating more eggs and protein and meat is not an option for me,
Yeah.
and I can't starve, then getting somebody to talk on this is again of immense value. Is that easily accessible for everyone, where somebody is not trying to sell their own product or agenda, but giving you genuine suggestions basis understanding your context? So that is our second pillar. We're trying to create a network of consultants, coaches, advisors around, think of nutrition therapy, lifestyle, yoga, Reiki, acupuncture, TCM, all of these. How can I create a pool of credible consultants that if you want any credible advice around these areas, you can get it here? That is my second. And then third, which personally excites me a lot given my professional experience, is building a range of products which can support these kind of things. So we are evaluating what kind of products we can get into. It can range from health supplements, natural supplements, functional foods, and then trying to build that portfolio and then see what can we bring to the world in the near future.
It's beautiful and it's exciting. You know why? Because, mid of last year, I had a meniscus tear operation. And it was during this time that the grit, grind, and gratitude journey started, because I was away from work, so to say. I never prioritized sleep. As a woman who has an invisible list to tick off every day, I never prioritized sleep. And my doctor told me, prioritize sleep first, then your exercise, and third comes food. And I was very conscious of food because I'm gluten intolerant, dairy intolerant due to a certain close to autoimmune condition. So I've been very clean in my eating, and yet going through the menopausal journey, the weight is very difficult to manage. And I have also been searching through these times as to where can I find somebody who understands, because I actually went all the way vegan because anyways I'm dairy intolerant, egg intolerant. And from there to look at my protein sources, so I had to reintroduce fish in my diet, fish and seafood, and being a Bengali, it helped. But there is so limited. And then, the whole thing around food, how to make it my 100 grams of protein every day, 30 grams of fiber, and 10 grams of carbs. Because it's not so easy and simple. It's very nuanced and it's very connected.
Yeah.
And the combinations, food combinations that you eat, even in Ayurveda, the type of person that you are, how it correlates to what you're eating and how it affects you, is all so intricate and so in-depth that you realize that you're barely scratching the surface.
Indeed.
Yeah. So it's beautiful that you have started work around this. Moving tracks a bit, tell us about what have been your wow moments in this journey.
Well, as I said, it's early days, right? But still, the wow moments, and then personally, in true earnest, so the way HealthVerse went about, as I said, my wife took the first step, and I must mention her name as well. It's Dolly Vora. And if you see on my website, she is one of the founders. And we chose to label it like that. So what I say on the website, she is the health brain and I am the growth brain. She can easily play my role as well, given her professional career and life. I can't play her role because I haven't been able to build that credibility and knowledge on health side of things. But that's how it is. And the immense journey has been, because it's a fairly competitive space, even when you think of it as somebody trying to start something new. And it took us good over a year to really figure out, okay, what is our value proposition? Who are we targeting? Initially, you think, okay, given our personal journey, let's straight away target pre-diabetics and type 2 diabetic people. Think, okay, but that is not doing justice to others who might be interested.
Yeah.
So First wow was getting that value proposition and having a MVP in place, which gave me enough motivation to, okay, now I can build my website. I can put it out there, which I did most of, I would say, late last year, putting that out. Now, and the other thing, and which is, I'll come back to the learning, right? But the next wow was the kind of learning opportunity it provided. Even after having so many years of professional life behind you and almost approaching almost 50, it really wakes you up that, okay, I can still learn so much more. There's so much more I can do and learn and figure out. And the way our environment has been evolving over the last few years and more accelerated in the last 2 years with AI, it's a tremendous journey. And I'm enjoying that thoroughly right now, if you ask me. As I'm working on my product portfolio proposition, on my marketing, so to say, not yet funded, so not yet finding the funds or the money that typically you would easily spend in a corporate job. But here, okay, I can't spend this money. And then third, figure out, okay, what should I value? I have only limited time. And while I'm working on this, I am also involved in 3 other things. So what is good value of time? Default is, okay, let me build my website myself. But is that really the right use of time? And then the final wow, using all tools and approaches which were completely new to me. Now I have reached a stage where I have a MVP on the portfolio I can launch in UK and in India. And that we've chosen to target these 2 markets as the starting point. And I'm figuring out the GTM now. And being able to do that on my own without spending any money is the wow.
Wow. Actually, beautiful. Let me just summarize quickly for our listeners, basically. The wow moments for you has been trying to define your MVP very clearly, having that clarity in your head before you put it out in the market on your website, understanding what to delegate and whom to delegate, which parts of the business, though you're very capable of doing it, and realizing that we have only that much limited time on our hands and we can't be getting into everything. So delegating that and managing within a short, crunched budget has been wow moments for you. Beautiful.
Very well summarized, Dipanvita. Thank you.
Tell me about your challenges, because I'm sure there must be many challenges in the journey.
There are tremendous amount of challenges, and let me qualify this by saying one thing first. And I really now admire youngsters who start on this journey straight away after college or after initial very few years of working. We took a different path. I mean, the first thing was being able to build a runway before you build the business. There's no right or wrong. There are people who are truly entrepreneurial and have the courage to straight away jump into it and build the business while generating revenue. In full transparency, I didn't have that courage. Now that has helped in a bit because I managed to build the runway before starting to build the business. Now that brought few learnings. And I don't have experience on the other aspect, so I can't talk about that. First, spending due amount of time on really figuring out the value proposition. Who are you trying to solve the problem for? And what are you trying to do? Second, and let me say it like this, which is linked to the value your time bit. Right? If you choose to become a business builder, you have to step out of being a functional expert. And everybody has different functional expertise in their career, right? I have been a marketer. There are people who come from a technical background, etc., etc. But you can't afford to get bogged down or dragged into the vertical of the functional expertise, because you have to stay focused on building the business, and you have to stay focused on pivoting and letting go of what is not working. When you wear the functional expert hat, it is more difficult. And that was the reason. Initially, I started building my website myself. And I spent 2-3 days on it. And I realized I'm not using my time well. because I need to focus on, okay, how my website needs to look and feel, what it needs to say. And then I said, okay, let me spend the money to get somebody who can build it. Let me actually focus on doing these things. The other learning, which again comes as a difference, because as I started to expand in this space and talk to more and more people, I realized there are lots of people going through the same struggles. And it linked back to my point made earlier about it's not a competition. Give and you get. And I've managed in the last 6-8 months to build very good collaborative partnerships with other people who are doing similar stuff in other areas. Friends who are building AI-led tools and are struggling to get real corporate experience and inputs to make it work well. And that was a mutual partnership. Okay, I'll help you build the tool, you help me build the portfolio. And in the process, your tool improves, works better. I get the kind of ideas without actually spending too much money and spending too much time on it. The other thing, and I made a note here, so let me have a quick look because it's skipping my mind. Yes, which is going to the superpowers that you have. Right? Now, it's a learning journey to try and build new things, but as a business builder, you have to focus on what is your superpower and acknowledge what is not. And then outsource or take help on what you cannot do, right? Because we can't do everything. Yeah. The watch out for me, and then I have not personally been through that journey because I am not a product developer. I am not from a technical background. But many a times when I meet and talk to various people who are building their own businesses is a very strong obsession which needs to be there with the product that they have. That's good to have. But that is not going to build the business. What is going to build the business is what problem you solve for others. If your product is doing that, if it's new to world, most likely it will. If it's new to category, very likely it will. But then it's important to see how is it different from many others who are solving the same problem and what is unique about you. So yeah, build a great product, but don't get obsessed about your product. Get obsessed about who are you solving the problem for and how are you solving it differently versus others.
So I just realized that you have seamlessly moved into our next question, which is,
Have I?
Yeah, which is actually what are the learnings or what are your words of wisdom for people who are starting out on this journey or who are thinking that they want to take a plunge on their passion project. So you have seamlessly moved, but I want to take a pause and just summarize the learnings on the challenges. And correct me if I heard you right or not. They have been the whole journey of, can I build my own website? Should I delegate? Should I not? Because I do have the expertise. How to look at the business as an umbrella rather than diving deeper into one particular vertical or solving one particular problem, and trying to look at how HealthVerse is answering the problem or addressing the market gap or the problem that you're solving for people. Yeah, right?
Yes.
Is there anything
absolutely.
else that I'm missing out?
No, you captured it beautifully,
Deepangata. Okay. So moving forward, and coming to the last question, which is, what will be your words of wisdom for people who are just starting out on this?
Well, I already spoke about some of them, right?
Yeah.
So, let me rethink if there's further insights.
So I'll just summarize what you've spoken about. You've spoken about how to stay a bit detached, not getting into the nitty-gritties, because looking at the business as a total rather than just diving deeper into solving one particular issue or problem. For example, you could have gone to build your own market brand and how you want to do it. And you and your wife together were very capable of marketing it, but you hired a website developer. You also partnered and created barter kind of systems with people who needed complementary skills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are two things you've spoken about. So just to give you a little, you know,
Head start.
recap.
Now,
Yeah,
thank you,
recap on that.
thanks for
Yeah.
recapping that. Now, other things, these are all related, Dipanvita, right? But the other learning for me has been at some point in building this business and this journey, funding starts to get in the way.
Yeah.
Okay. And and I'm going through that right now. Right. And particularly as I start to work on building my product portfolio, the decision that I need to take is okay, there are two options. Either I put sizable amount of funds and engage a third party manufacturer and produce my initial stocks myself, go through the entire listing expenses, marketing expenses to try and prove that it will sell. The other is I get into building my value proposition and pitch pack and raise angel investing or funding around it. And that's a critical decision point, and anybody trying to build a business will go through this.
Yeah.
Now, and I have been thinking through this. So my word of wisdom per se is to be clear about qualifier. Again, I'm talking of people who have managed to build some runway and then gotten into it. In case of starting as entrepreneur, the journey might be different. The key question is, it's your money. Are you confident enough to be able to invest that and lose the runway? The answer needs to be yes, because if your answer is not yes, you can't even fundraise, and it will be unfair to fundraise. So first, focus on building that conviction. Yes, it's a question staring in the face, but don't get obsessed by the question. Get obsessed by building that conviction. Once you have the conviction, it'll answer the question. Okay, I can put my own money and compromise my runway, or no, I am convinced enough to be able to ask you to invest in this. And then how do you decide? The second variable comes in. If I'm going to ask you to invest in this, I have to give you something, either equity or a share of profit or share of sales in the near future. And then it's not only about taking your money, but making sure I want to work with you on a longer term basis.
Yeah.
And are we connecting at our value system and thinking level?
Yeah.
So that is one thing, and this is not something to ignore. Now the other area, and particularly given what is happening around AI and MarTech and everything around it, it tends to make us believe, and being as a marketer as well, that the entry barriers in doing marketing or getting reach and frequency has really come down. So I can spend relatively lesser amount of money and create a lot of following, likes, social media awareness and visibility rather quickly. Yes, that's true to some extent. But the biggest mistake to do is, it's like, the days when, and if I play back to our childhood as well, when there was only Doordarshan and that's it. And then you suddenly had influx of satellite channels and internet. And then suddenly a lot more media to actually expose your brand to the consumer.
Yeah.
That has gone up by 100 times now. But the basic thing doesn't change. More exposure means more risk. Now, in AI world, earlier it used to happen that you might have said the wrong thing, put out the wrong visual on one particular media, but you have not spent media money on it. It will stay hidden. AI will look at everything on your brand. It will expose you. You don't have space to make mistakes when it comes to how the brand needs to come across to the world.
Yeah.
There is no space. Very soon, and there's enough data around this to say that in the near future, and I mean in the next 1 to 2 years, agentic commerce is going to become big. Right? One McKinsey report suggests that by 2030, almost 12 to 15% of US retail sales will be driven through agentic commerce. AI agents basically building your purchase basket, scanning your consideration set, building your purchase basket, and buying goods for you. Any brand needs to operate in that space. Now, can you afford to not have your value proposition crystal clear and your brand look and feel crystal clear and be 100% about whose problem are you solving and how? You can't. Because when an AI is scanning your value proposition, it'll be ruthless.
Yeah.
So it's a caution from my side to not over assume the technology as being an easy fix, but rather taking it as a signal that the thinking around value proposition, who and why, needs to be even more robust.
Yeah, good. So, adding on to the two learnings that you had shared earlier, now you've talked about finance, and that's where the rubber meets the road. And that's where so many micro entrepreneurs make a mistake of assuming that this is going to be easy. It is not. Time and time again, from different micro entrepreneurs, I hear that people build up reserves before they take the jump. So have your runway, insight, and your risk appetite well understood as well. And you're right in saying that if value systems don't match when you're going to somebody for funding, and he or she is going to drive the way your business is going to shape up, you pretty much better have that clarity of values and values alignment before you go to him or her for that funding, because he's going to control, that person is going to control how your business will develop. And then the last thing you said is about AI being ruthless. So you cannot afford to not have your value proposition crystal clear to yourself and in all the messaging that you're putting it out in the world.
Absolutely.
There are just no spaces for making mistakes in that. Yeah?
Yep. Yeah. Very true.
Thank you so much, Shantanu, for coming today and sharing important learnings from your very personally driven journey around solving your personal health problem and making that as or understanding that that's a gap in the market, and therefore coming up with this whole proposition for that HealthVerse is trying to solve for people. Your journey highlights lots of grit, lots of grind, and oodles of gratitude for what you have, the journey you have covered so far. I did hear a lot of it. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Dipanvita. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. And I hope some of this helps your audiences as well going forward.
Thank you so much.
If you like this interview, please don't forget to subscribe by pressing the bell icon and follow us on our social media handles as we talk to more and more micro entrepreneurs who are living their dreams boldly.